Hi everybody and welcome to the Property AI Report. This is your weekly digest of all things property and AI, brought to you by me, Mal McCallion, with a very dodgy voice, and Matt Goddard without a very dodgy voice.
Just my normal voice.
Just normal Grimsbolian is what you normally call it.
Barian,
thank you. So we have another packed show to get through today. I'm obviously going to leave Matt to talk about most of it. But yes, we are here in sunny Madrid, aren't we?
It's
very nice.
It's beautiful. For those watching on YouTube, it's blue skies, aeroplanes, ambulances, beeping horns behind us.
Loads of taxis.
If we don't get any of those, we'll use 11 apps to add in the sound effects afterwards.
Of course.
This is actually Mal talking normally, and he's used sound effects on that to make himself sound more husky.
That's right.
We'll see how the rest of this session goes.
Yeah, we will. Okay, so let's start off then with our property news. All right, so this week, first up, we've had Zoopla kind of plunging into some big claims around its presence, particularly in London. So it's saying that it's got the biggest choice of homes in London. Now, I haven't seen anything contravening that from any of the other portals. Do you think that's a valid claim?
I 100% believe this is true, and you'll know better than most, although I don't necessarily need you to talk about it now, that Zoopla has for long been the most established portal in London, hasn't it? So certainly Chesterton's, I think, were one of the big ones that stayed on Zoopla for a long time. When On the Market came along and said one other portal, it was Zoopla for the London agencies, and I believe that probably still is the case. Certainly I know Rupert Collingwood from the London Broker, I've mentioned a few weeks back, he doesn't put anything on Rightmove. It's Zoopla is the portal he uses alongside digital marketing, and I believe Zoopla is quite right to have this claim alongside its very fancy purple London cabs that it's got.
Yeah, they look amazing. And yeah, look, I think if you go back in kind of the dawn of time and kind of Zoopla's gestation, it took over various portals along the way, like Prime Location, like Find a Property. Find a Property was very strong on the letting side, particularly in London. And obviously Prime Location came with those blue blood, Knight Franks and Savills and people like that who are there is a strong London base there. Yeah, no, I think it's a good campaign. I think it's what I like about it. It's positive for Zoopla after a few weeks or months of not necessarily having a lot to come out swinging. It's really picked up, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how they build on that. They are here, aren't they, in Madrid?
They are indeed, and so is Andy Florence, as I've just found out via the WhatsApp group for Property Portal Watch. So be interested to see what he has to say this year, as opposed to obviously last year was very much we're not buying Zoopla. Andy Florence being CEO of CoStar,
CEO, founder of CoStar,
and probably someone you were mingling with at the pre-drinks last night. No?
He's not here yet.
Oh, right,
no,
okay.
He's showing up. I think kind of like Taylor Swift, just very right at the end.
Got you.
Just as
Tay-Tay, and you like it when I go off on my random tangents.
Okay.
And we're trying to fill some time so that you don't have to speak so much. Apparently, you joined Instagram and you've created a number of reels using content from this podcast.
That's right.
And our reel has been popping up in my sister-in-law's Tay-Tay stream. Unfortunately, as she's been doom scrolling through Tay-Tay, this hit with updates from whatever snippet you interjected
Excellent.
There.
I love the fact that I am now a master of all of these different social media channels that everybody's been on forever.
And I like the fact that you brought Tay-Tay up first, so I was able to throw that in. But no, it'd be interesting to see what Andy Florence has to say. It's actually going off on a tangent from talking about Zoopla initially, but at the same time not. And also domain's going to be talked about, isn't it?
Which CoStar also owns. So yeah, I think it's so very excited about this conference. This is the PropTech and Portal Watch conference in Madrid over the next 3 days, and plenty of different speakers, including Rich Hayes from Zoopla. We've got in the room is Rightmove, also Jason Tebb of On the Market, and as Matt says, Andy Florence. So some really big portals from our country, but also, as Matt says, Domain, which also CoStar owned over in Australia, and others too. So it's going to be a huge. There's 410 odd people, which is the busiest it's ever been. So very excited to see how it all comes together, and obviously we'll have some stories, I'm sure, to share next week, because last time Andy Florence dropped the idea that he was going to sponsor the Manchester Stadium.
London. Manchester and London.
Yeah, the Homes.com Stadium in Manchester.
Your voice really has gone.
It really has, yes. So plenty about the portals coming up, I'm sure, next week. Right, next up, we are talking, again, we love to talk about the exciting stuff here, TA6 forms, man.
Indeed. It's obviously the much maligned TA6 form as well.
My God.
The fact that the volume of information needs to be dug out. But the good news here, we'll hopefully see this come to pass, is that estate agents are being invited to engage on it this time.
Contribute.
Rather than just being told this is what you now need to do. This rippled through, I think it's back end of last week, wasn't it? And the fact that estate agents this time will be getting the chance to incorporate the points and ideas. There's various groups, aren't there, like the homes buying and selling group and various others that have their ideas but maybe haven't previously had the right situation to air them.
Yeah.
It certainly looks like this is more of a positive bit of news.
Absolutely, a bit more collaborative. It died on its backside basically because nobody was actually implementing them because it was too complex. So yes, there's a lot of learnings there in terms of if you're going to do something like this, then make sure you've got everybody on the ground floor involved as well. But yeah, no, so obviously that's going to be deployed, a lot of kind of information that's going to be available for people looking to buy property and so on. So yeah, really, really good development there. All right, we're going to talk about the Conservative Party because we love their politics as well. They have promised to abolish stamp duty. Thoughts?
Well, it was their conference, wasn't it, last week? We're here in Madrid. Where were they for their conference?
I think it was Manchester.
Okay, so they slept up to Manchester. We had Labour up in Liverpool prior to that. And Kemi Badenoch's come out and say we're just going to abolish it.
Just get rid.
I don't think they necessarily considered the financial ramifications. I've seen numbers bouncing around about how many billions they need to find to plug this. And whilst we don't talk politics, I think Labour are now being encouraged to also abolish stamp duty. Quite how it comes out in the wash, who knows, but it's certainly a big campaign point, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think it was just purely to spike the Chancellor's budget coming up at the end of November?
There's been plenty of other stuff in there,
yeah,
spiked her own budget.
Add to the pressure of, no, actually, instead of reforming it, just get rid of it.
Well, using that point, reform, has Farage come out yet and thrown anything into it?
I don't think actually on this particular thing, which is unusual. I'm sure there's a cut somewhere of exactly what he thinks on it. But yes, no, I can't see it happening. It's just too big a revenue generator. It's really, there are tweaks to make to it. It can be made fairer, obviously, all those kinds of things. It is a blocker on certain ways of buying and selling property, but it's just too impractical. Just get rid of wholesale. Yeah, it feels very much like it's a headline grabber and a bit of pressure on Rachel Reeves for the end of November budget. But yeah, even if the Conservatives were to get in, I would almost bet my life on the fact that they will not implement this because it's crazy town.
It's a massive black hole to fill, isn't it?
Exactly right. All right, those are our property news stories of this week. Let us dive in to our AI and tech news. All right, we really want to get involved in this brand new initiative from OpenAI where they are allowing you to have apps inside ChatGPT. Okay, so essentially the idea is you're chatting away, let's say you're looking for a property, particularly in the States, looking for a property, and it will ask you, do you want to use Zillow? And then Zillow will pop up and then you can just segue quite seamlessly from what you were chatting to ChatGPT about into Zillow. So yeah, it's also got things like Spotify, it's got all sorts of other apps that you can bed into here. And I was interested to see the Zillow announcement for it. This is how sad I am. The URL said that they're the first to implement, and then the big PR press piece said actually we're the only exclusive partnership with ChatGPT. So I think my take on this is that this is going to be open to everybody, right? So this is going to be an app. It's going to be like the App Store on Apple on your phone, and you're going to be able to build apps for ChatGPT, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing to start with because this came out as part of Dev Day last week. So we were actually recording on the morning of Dev Day. I think we were 6 or 7 a.m. last week.
Yeah.
As things were coming out, and Agent Builder had been announced, which we talked about as our tool of the week, which is the ChatGPT version of Zapier, which is you build a workflow and have various connections. The apps almost slid under the radar at that stage because previously ChatGPT have had connectors, they've had custom GPTs, and it's difficult to piece together how apps is different to those approaches. But actually, I think this is going to be quite revolutionary. Maybe not immediately, maybe take a little bit of time, but you think about when the iPhone launched way back when, it was a year and a half before they launched apps.
Yeah.
So you just had a smartphone, and it wasn't that different to any other smartphone at that stage. And then when Steve Jobs came along and launched the App Store, it really changed, didn't it? It's like we've got the Wover app going off at the moment to tell us when our next agenda point is. You have smart trackers, your health trackers, you have all these different apps that are in your pocket.
That's a video that's on my phone that's actually videoing us right now.
Exactly that. And so to see these within the context of ChatGPT, and I think the difference for me with custom GPTs was Canva is one that's been a custom GPT, is a custom GPT, and it is already an app. And with Canva, there's the ability within the custom GPT to get and utilise content within it in a generative AI sense, so you just textually integrating with it, whereas these apps have a graphical layer, and so actually what's being returned, you're interacting within ChatGPT, and for me it's almost becoming a platform, it's almost becoming an operating system by introducing these. And we knew apps was going to be a big thing when they brought in their own CEO of apps was that last year? No, it was only early this year.
Yeah, it was like about 4 months ago, something like that.
Fujiyama, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But she's come in, there've been all these various launches, and now actually see these contexts. I think Zillow is actually allows people to do the things you've talked about for a while. And you've got enough voice to talk about your ballroom dancing situation again, haven't you?
No, I don't know how that... Don't make me laugh, that's not allowed. What I do think, actually, is, yes, so Zillow is much more able to, or you're much more able on Zillow, to do this kind of natural language search where you can actually say, I want a 3-bedroom property near a ballroom dancing class, etc. And it will go off and find it. And that, I think, is the difference. I think that the apps that they are allowing onto their platform and that they are privileging and showcasing are ones that have AI in them already. I can't see at this point that it would necessarily use a Rightmove, with no disrespect, and Zoopla and stuff like that, because you can't actually, if you're doing a chat on ChatGPT saying, I really want to get Riverside setting, blah, blah, and then it dumps you onto Rightmove, and then you've got to start again with 3 filters, I don't think that's seamless enough, so I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that they do. Plus, that there does seem to be the case that Rightmove and others are actually blocking AI anyway, so I just don't see them diving into this just yet. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity for others coming into the market. I think that actually this could be a real game changer. But yeah, I think it's super exciting.
And I think it's also a chance for developers to start monetizing that as well, if it goes down the actual, to use the same paradigm, the App Store approach from Apple or Google Play, to actually look at that. And then it's things like, for example, a lot of people use MailChimp for their email marketing, but that's actually been shrinking in terms of market size. I don't know if it's just since Intuit bought it, and there's things like Beehive, and it looks like Beehive have already put their app into ChatGPT. So again, you've got all that context, and that's what it really comes down to, isn't it? We have context is now knowledge, and it's like people who can get that, and I'm looking forward to seeing when the likes of HubSpot or Salesforce put those apps in so that you can work from within ChatGPT, but you can summon, for want of a better word, your call list, your interactions, your deals, see all those things in that context of your ChatGPT platform. And
I'm really interested to see whether they do, because Salesforce has got a record already of basically trying to wall off their data.
At the same time, they've unwalled Slack. So Slack is now publicly available again. For those that don't know, Slack's got an API. A lot of people were integrating with that, and back in May, June, Salesforce, who owns Slack, removed that API access, so walled off. But I think Salesforce have now realised that they're losing a lot of context, because by people utilising that, Slack remains the hub. Whereas if you can't get at that context, that knowledge, then
you'll go somewhere else.
Elsewhere.
Exactly that, absolutely. So I think it's wonderful to see all these kind of tectonic plates shifting, people making decisions and then changing decisions, because actually that's a crap decision. But it's about, actually. And again, to your point about the mobile phones and iPhones and app stores back then, nobody really knew what the hell they were doing. They were just throwing things out there and then iterating and iterating until you find product market fit. And that's going to be the case again in this ecosystem, I think. So, look, it's the start of something, I think, and it's going to be really exciting to see where it all ends up. Still with OpenAI and ChatGPT, they have launched instant checkout. So just when you thought that you were going to be able to get away from ChatGPT, or indeed ChatGPT's story on this podcast, we're back with Agentic Commerce Protocol, ACP, which basically means that you can click and buy stuff directly from ChatGPT. So it will surface some really cool stuff. So if you're looking for, I don't know, a motorbike, I don't know why I thought like that, probably noise outside, and you can then find it, blah blah, you can do some real research, get it to do some proper research on it, do the whole agentic thing, and then it comes back with the perfect bike for you. And then assuming the Harley Davidson shop is on there, then you can just click and buy it.
Or the robot shops. So is it Walmart now you can buy robots at? And so you can,
and guns.
Yes, and this has been coming for a while. We've seen the Google sort of protocol for purchasing, and we've talked about in previous pods the fact you can set an agent off to say, go find me a motorbike between these price points that's from a certain era that maybe Steve McQueen jumped the fence on in Great Escape, or it looks the same, and you can set the agent off to go hunt for that, but it would then return the results. This is now saying, go off and do it. And we've seen that very early on. You can take a snap of a menu and agent goes off and gets all the ingredients, and now you can put those ingredients in the shopping basket. Whereas now, as long as you've pre-approved and allowed to do it, the agent can actually buy those products and get them delivered based on free time in your calendar. So it's seeing those steps as it comes along. And the concern is always around those bad actors who are going to try and utilise the payments and to defraud. But it's a case of that's why these protocols come along, isn't it?
Exactly. And there will be a kind of, just as we were talking about earlier, there'll be a push-pull. Like it will go a bit further forwards, and then it will have to roll back just a little bit because actually it's insecure and people have found a way to hack into it. But it's coming to that seamless, I can think it and then buy it. And that's, I imagine, Sam Altman's dream.
Neuralink.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. So that's a little bit more of OpenAI, but don't go anywhere because we've got even more.
The last one.
Actually, no, there's two. But anyway, so we've got SOA So Sora is the amazing video platform that we still haven't got DAO access to, which really upsets me every single time we do
like
this.
the App Store. We don't have a ChatGPT app.
Exactly. But yeah, it's hit 1 million downloads faster than ChatGPT. All right, so ChatGPT was the biggest download fest in history, the biggest consumer launch in history. Now Sora has smashed that, but also it's been mired in controversy, hasn't it?
It has. We saw, so it was Cameo we were talking about early on, where I could put my likeness up there and people can then use that to create videos, or create videos of you, Mal, and we talked last week how you can see the drafts of what people are doing for you.
Yeah.
And also they went out there early on saying that from a privacy point of view you had to opt out rather than opt in. And there's various videos, I'm sure everybody's probably seen them on Instagram and Reels, and they have this Sora watermark on, but even now there's a host of companies that can take the Sora watermark off.
There's also ones that can add those Sora watermark on. You just got a normal video and then you
that
can
might be the rhino coming through the bathroom window that my brother sent me the other day, but you see those coming through, and the controversy is very much that the people with likeness, Michael Jackson in KFC, and Tupac walking down the street. There's been a variety of these, hasn't there? And now it's a case of having to dial back that sort of freedom of imagery, isn't there?
Yeah, so there's a Martin Luther King thing that kind of took off as a sort of meme. But yeah, it's Sam Altman's doing his, oh my God, I can't believe that this has happened. What a surprise. And he's ripped everything from SpongeBob to all of the different Pixar characters, Disney, and all the Batman and stuff like that. So it's just a massive copyright issue.
We don't call it copyright anymore, though.
No, what do we call it?
I've forgotten.
Yeah, it's not got. Yeah, it's copyright.
Great information for the podcast.
Stay tuned, guys. There's even more information coming your way. But yeah, no. So this whole kind of intellectual property. Let's call it that, shall we, for now? And Sam Altman has gone, oh my God, like I can't believe everybody's getting so upset about this, obviously. And he's been at front and centre of these kind of controversies already. So I think it's a little bit smoke and mirrors, and obviously this was going to happen. He's managed to get it to this massive launch, and that's what he was chasing,
number
really.
Number 1 in the app market.
Exactly.
ChatGPT number 2. So
that was what he was chasing. So big controversy goes a long way, and now it's been, as they call it, nerfed.
Yes. Yeah. And while you're on the kids front, and then talk about Nerf, although I appreciate adults use Nerfs as well.
Only occasionally.
And your voice seems to be warming up. Tell me about all this youth backlash.
Yeah, there's Mr. Beast, all right? And for those who don't know who Mr. Beast is, he is the biggest YouTube star out there.
That's why I don't.
And he's called Jimmy something or other. But he's super famous if you are age 25 or below, which we just about don't qualify for, sadly. But I have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old who know him very well. So he's out there basically saying that AI could threaten creators' livelihoods. All right, so this is, and I know from my kids that actually they're quite anti-AI in some ways, because they listen to these creators all the time, and creators whinge all the time about how this is going to usurp them. I suppose we are.
Are we allowed to whinge?
Yeah.
It's cold, isn't it?
Yeah, really cold.
Right.
I've got a cold. I don't know if I told you that.
No, you haven't.
So it is. So there is a lot of kind of backlash from Mr. Beast and other creators. Also Taylor Swift's fans, who again generally tack towards the sub 25. They accuse the singer of using AI in her Google launch for. It's a scavenger hunt launch for a new album, but in a negative way. It's not, oh, that's fine, she's used it and that's okay. It's no, that's bad. And it's almost this kind of like default antipathy towards AI from the younger generation, I think very much focused around the fact that a lot of their consumption is of Insta, is of
TikTok,
Snapchat. Absolutely, where all these creators are basically trying to make enough money to live off. Yeah, there's a lot of pushback there. And then the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, has come back and pushed back a little bit and just said, look, this is life, guys. Basically, just like Mr. Beast came along and disintermediated the previous BBC and all those kind of channels.
Andy Peters, Andy Crane,
exactly, those legends.
Yeah.
This is what's happening, and it's just the way of the world.
It's more worrying, and I was talking to John Hennessy, who's at iVox yesterday, while everyone sort of turns up, about that gap that's going to create because of AI between people leaving university and the sort of experienced people. We were talking more in terms of iVox as a voice agent, AI voice agent. Yeah. So a lot of take a support team, you normally have that support pyramid of first line, second line, third line. And third line is the people who got the real depth of knowledge
deep
of a
issues.
product.
Yeah.
AI voice in terms of handling, or just AI is going to remove a lot of those first and second line support jobs.
Yeah.
But good companies, and we talked a fair few weeks ago about my experience between TSB and Amazon in terms of TSB wasn't very good, Amazon was great because Amazon offered to put me through to someone on the phone and have them call me. And actually that's where the calls are going to be routed, aren't they? Klarna's got this as well. The calls are going to get routed straight to the very experienced people as and when you give up on the AI. And
yeah.
I want to, but how do you get to that experience level if you're not going through the first and second line as part of your sort of education process?
And I think that we all have to think differently about that, because you're absolutely right. But the end goal is the same, which is we need these super experienced people. And historically, that has only come from graft and actually experiencing and stuff like that. So we're going to have a different education layer. There's going to have to be really tight and, not just learn by doing, but actually learn by, I don't know, AI telling you or something like that. So I think...
Is Mr. Beast talking about things like that, or is it purely just the fact he's not going to be making as many millions, billions, or now we've got gazillions?
Yeah, no, he's basically just on a big old whinge, bless him. But yeah, I think it's... And I think we spoke and certainly wrote in the newsletter about these actors who are like whinging about. So there was this actor called Tilly Norwood, which was an AI that kind of came out, and it was launched at the Zurich Film Festival. And Tilly Norwood is entirely AI generated, and you had actors like Emily Blunt coming out and going, "This is the end. This is like terrible." La la la. And it's just, if I'm a stage actor back in the 20s, and the talkies came along in the films, and I'm sitting there going, "This is outrageous. We shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. This is not entertainment. This is blah blah." And it's the same thing. Yes. And so actually, it's just another phase of creators being disrupted by new creators. And I just do think that, and look, we're all humans with tremendous self-interest, it is just a lot of noise about the fact that essentially technology is overtaking them and new ones come through. Yeah, exactly. All right, we have time for one more AI and tech news story. And it's one of our little favourites, which is about OpenAI and Johnny Ive.
Yeah, I thought you'd go for that one.
Yeah, we love this. So yeah, look, I'll speak for myself rather than speaking for us. Although we're essentially the same person.
We're a bit like Johnny Ive and Sam Altman in the first picture.
Yeah, we should do
I've
that.
got the glasses on.
We should do that.
That's the ident for this week, right? Have you not done that before?
Not yet.
I definitely am Johnny Ive.
Stop making me laugh. I told you. All right. Yeah, essentially they're struggling to find this form factor for their AI device. So this is like the Omni AI device that everybody's going to have in their pocket or on their face or in their ears. And yeah, it seems to be going a bit slowly for something that costs 1.8 billion or something crazy.
There's a lot of technical challenges, aren't there? And I know there's a lot of models now that are so small they could fit on. I heard something yesterday and it made me laugh because someone I work with at House & House has got like an iPhone 7 and we're trying to test various things on a mobile device, and do you need to wind that up?
Wow.
Get some coal in that? But there's large language models and models that work so well you can have them on a very small, very old phone and like with a very small footprint.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the problems they're having are actually around technical challenges. And I think that what's actually happening is more interesting for geeks like us is what it's going to look like. Where's it going to go? And at the moment, you've seen Claude?
No.
So Claude is a device that's very thin, almost wallet-sized, and it's like in the old days, we would call it a dictaphone.
Okay.
And it sits there very discreet and records the conversations, transcribes it, and Simon Whale, of course, probably picks one up due to his Instagram reels. And I think that's going to be basically what these guys come out with, just a very elegant, smart-looking one that as soon as you sit down, you've got your laptop, you've got your mobile, and you stick your listening device, your dictaphone, as it was, in there. But they're having the technical challenges around it, getting it to work. I think the latest from the FT was it's a palm-sized device without a screen that can take audio and visual cues from the environment. And a lot of it is to do with, because it's ambient AI, it's on all the time, and that's the challenge around it. And I think even Amazon had a problem with its Alexa Plus, where normally there's a cue words, that, obviously Alexa or Echo, depending on your settings, whereas this ambient AI is there all the time. It's struggling to differentiate between when it should be engaged and not.
Yeah, so I tried something called B. I don't know if you've come across that, BEE. So that was a little kind of band around your wrist, but also it was on your iPhone, your iWatch, sorry, your Apple Watch. And essentially it would just record everything. And it was really interesting, but actually, like you said, when you actually looked at the transcript, it was really confused about who's talking, what's important, and it was just like this big kind of just vomit of words that essentially you couldn't really make sense of. Yeah, I think it's still very much in its kind of early stages. There's still lots and lots to work through, but it's moving so fast, I can't imagine that it'll be too long before you can get it to microscopic whatever, and then, where are you going to fit it? And it could be pretty much anywhere. But because, at least I'm obsessed by it, we will undoubtedly return to it in the very near future. All right, that is our tech and AI news this week. Let's move on to our tool of the week. Matt,
tool of the week. Excellent, thank you.
I've been wanting to say that so long.
I dropped that one when I was in Dubai and you beat me to it. I let you come here to my balcony in Madrid on my terrace.
Look at this, and I've just abused you.
But no, we touched on Notebook LM as a tool of the week very recently, but also Nano Banana, and our tool of the week now is the two have combined forces. In fact, Google have gone to town with Nano Banana and it's appearing everywhere.
Yeah.
But this specific one is Notebook LM they've got the webinar feature, or I think it was called webinar feature, isn't it? We've got the audio overviews and then the webinars. So it takes your content and creates a brilliant webinar and creates the visuals. And those visuals were great, like watching them through, and it takes it, sources it from your own content, whereas now it's using Nano Banana to create those visuals, and it's just taking it up another step.
Yeah.
And so if you've not used Notebook LM after Mal recommended it on the previous pods, go out there, have a look at it. The audio overviews are fantastic, the cue cards, the quizzes that it creates, but also now that it's got Nano Banana in there. And this isn't like OpenAI where it's, here you go, America, Europe, you'll get it at some point in the future. It's here, it's now, so you can go off and test this in Notebook LM as it is today. And you don't need to be paying for Google. If you've got a free account, you can use Notebook LM in that.
Brilliant. So yeah, it's Notebook LM, and I think it's notebooklm.ai or something like that. So yeah, go and have a play. Very cool. All right, that is it for this week. Very excited to talk next week about all the things we're about to learn here at the PropTech and Portal Watch conference. Matt, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.
I just want to check one thing actually, Mal. So we were at the ICG event last week.
Yeah.
And at the start of the week, you'd said on this very pod that because of AI avatars being so good, that going forward, unless you were wearing an orange shirt, you couldn't be sure it was you. And today you're in a dark blue shirt.
That's very true.
At the ICG on Wednesday you were in a suit and shirt. I didn't feel it was appropriate to ask in the FAQ section at the end, is this really you, Matt? But was it you? Because you weren't in an orange t-shirt.
I've been in Madrid for like weeks now.
Yeah, I can tell from the time.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I'm not so great, obviously. I've just been partying all the time. But yes, no, that's very true. But I'm more for videos and stuff like that. Although,
you probably have added that.
Yeah, probably should. But yes, no. So going forwards, if you see any little snippets of me, orange t-shirt, you can feel comfortable that it's
and
actually...
the blue one where you're really hench and younger, that's an AI avatar.
No, that's my other twin. Brilliant stuff. All right, listen, have fun out there. Good luck. We will catch up with you again next week.
Thanks everyone for joining. Have a great week.
Enjoy.